Okay, hey, so welcome to the live. Um, so today I wanted to talk about a video that I saw on TikTok, and the topic of the video is called, hold on, let me mute my mic. I want to mute my mic on the other space, but yeah, today I want to talk about a video I saw on TikTok. So the first thing I want to do is I see there's a few people in the chat already, and a few people were waiting for the stream. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. If you want to shout me out in the chat so I know who you are, that would be great. Um, but first things first, the topic I chose is because I saw this video, and like a lot of other people saw this video, and they thought it was basically they felt like he was being anti-black, so they started attacking him. But I felt like it was a little bit more to the story than just anti-blackness. I felt like it's something a little bit more uh, problematic to the mixed race community. So that's why I titled this live stream Delusions of Biraciality and Weaponizing Mixed Race Voices. So when it comes to biracial people, there are a lot of people who now want to get in on the discussion, and they want to lead the conversation. And unfortunately, the only conversation or testimony that you can lead is your own. So you have people, though, who will try to create some type of proximity to being mixed race or present themselves as mixed race so they can become part of the discussion and they can try to lead the discussion. But not everybody has something worthwhile to say. So I'm just going to take a moment to get the clip, so bear with me for a moment, and welcome again, welcome everyone to the stream. Let me take a moment to get the clip.
Is it bad that I stem away from black people? And I feel like the reasons that I'm about to provide is extremely valid, at least to me. So the reason why I stem away from people of my own race is because they've always treated me so horribly growing up, and they made me feel like that I don't belong. Literally in school, I was always made fun of by black people for some reason. I was the target. Whether if you were white, Latin, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, it did not matter. Everyone of every race has welcomed me and made me feel like I was a part of them. They made me feel comfortable. They never had a problem with me. But with black people, I was always made fun of. I was turned down. I just never felt like I was a part of them. In school, the only time that they were ever nice to me was when they wanted to get answers from me whenever we were doing schoolwork or a test, just so that they can get a good grade on their assignment. Now, me being the nice shy kid trying to get out of my bubble, and they just never wanted anything to do with me. So in other words, they would use me and take advantage of me just to get a good grade for themselves, but never wanted anything to do with me outside of the classroom. Black people always made fun of me for hanging out with white kids. Black people always made fun of me for hanging out with the Latin and Hispanic kids. Black people always made fun of me for hanging out with the Asian. Black people always made fun of me for hanging out with goth and emo kids. Literally anybody of any race that I was hanging out with besides black, I was pushed down for. And to this day, I only have like 3 black friends.
I don't make it
I want
happen,
to
police
pause
and
it here.
blackness. I've talked.
So I just wanted to show that clip, but before I get into the discussion, I want to shout out everybody that's in the chat. So how you doing, AMR? Thank you for coming to the stream. Hey, Pink, how are you? What's up, MLS? Thank you for coming to the stream. I'm good. How are you doing, MLS people? All right, just want to say hi to you guys, but like I want to talk about the clip for a second. So the first thing I noticed in the clip was his appearance, the bright blue contacts, the curly perm. It's almost like he's making himself appear to be mixed, right? So you want to use that image of mixed race people, someone who might be darker with very light eyes and like silky curls. You want to use that image, but then you want to start talking about how much of a problem you have with the black community. To me, is this person mixed race? No, they're not. They're a black person. So why are they using the mixed race identity to try to go against their own group? If they want to go against their own group, they can do it as their own group, right? Like just present yourself as a black person and say, I want to be critical of the black community. These are my experiences with black people. But instead of doing that, they want to present themselves as something other than black. In this case, a mixed race person. And then they want to come with this spiel about, how they had been robbed and they had been bullied. And whether or not this is true or not, no one will ever really know. But the point is that they don't speak for the people who actually look like that. And I think it's a big problem. We do have a lot of people who want to be able to try to speak on behalf of mixed people, whether it is biracial people, multi-generationally mixed people. If you're talking about people who might be light-skinned black, you have people trying to do things to appear as light-skinned black people and speak on that. You have people trying to appear as all these other different groups to speak for those people. But to me, you can speak on whatever you want, just be yourself. So this man, for some reason, he felt the need to be hypercritical of black people. And what was interesting is TikTok is a very different platform than YouTube. YouTube, you can say what you want. You'll get a few response videos, but for the most part, you're not going to get the kind of action you get on TikTok, which is mass mobbing of your channel. So immediately everybody came out and pretty much mobbed his channel. And he's somebody that has 7.4 million followers. So it does take a toll. But I did want to speak on him because I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, why is it that people who are not mixed, who are not biracial, want to be the ones to speak? And the first thing they want to talk about is how, black people are bad, right. And someone said something good in the comments. How you doing, LSP? Thank you for coming to the stream. Someone said they're trying to ruin the reputation of mixed race and biracial people. I agree. It's hard to talk about what it's like to be mixed or biracial because you do have a lot of influence from both the white community and the black community. And a lot of the time, some people spend time not trying to go against either group. Some people may feel like it's just easier to just side with one group. But however they feel, I feel like it's their choice to be able to speak on that. When someone is not from those groups, it takes away from the validity of what people are saying. I've heard mixed people say they feel like they were alienated or isolated as children from the rest of their group who was black. And I think that's a very poignant discussion. But when somebody comes with some jerry curls and some blue contacts and, some light foundation, and they want to come and say, oh, well, the same thing happened to me, it kind of takes away from the fact that there are people who actually look like that without, using chemicals or plastic or anything else to try to make themselves appear to be that way. So that's my first clip. And basically he wanted to use his presence as a very influential TikToker to try to, diminish or downplay what's going on in the black community. Of course, all of the black TikTokers, rose up against him. A few people were on his side and said that they know that, there are instances where they're bullied. But for the most part, he was just dragged for whatever he was doing. But I want to take a look at the comments. So, yeah, I agree, Amar. It's basically attention seeking. Yes, I did. Yeah, it's a jerry curl and contact lenses. Exactly. Like, why can't you just have your own hair, your own eye color, and talk about what you want to talk about? Like, you don't need to try to look like someone who's mixed to make your point. that somehow you're like mixed people, because that's not what being mixed is. People look like that because they're mixed with something. You don't have to try to make yourself a part of that group. But I want to look at the next person, and that is Rachel Dolezal. So let me get those clips together.
Welcome to Really Being Black in America. I even applied to jobs that didn't even require degrees, being a maid at a hotel.
So that's one clip by Rachel Dolezal, and that was kind of short, but let me pull it up and just pause it.
Let me just ask you the question in simple terms again, because you've sent mixed signals over the years. Are you an African-American woman?
I identify as black.
You identify as black. Let me put a picture up of you in your early 20s, though. Mm-hmm. And when you see this picture, is this an African-American woman, or is that a Caucasian woman?
That's not in my early 20s, but...
That's a little younger, I guess? Yeah.
I think I was 16 in that picture.
Is she a Caucasian woman or an African-American woman?
I would say that visibly she would be identified as white by people who see her.
But at the time, were you identifying yourself as African-American?
In that picture, during that time, no.
Your parents were asked this question this week, and they didn't have any trouble answering it. Here's what they said. She's clearly our birth daughter, and we're clearly Caucasian. That's just a fact. Your father went on to say she's a very talented woman doing work she believes in. Why can't she do that as a Caucasian woman, which is what she is? How do you answer that question?
So that last clip, yeah, we had Rachel Dolezal. Good old Rachel Dolezal. I felt like I don't want to talk about just what the Black community does in terms of trying to speak on mixed people. I also want to bring in, there are members of the white community who do the same exact thing. So in Rachel Dolezal's case, she wanted to present herself as a mixed race woman, to then say that she is Black or African American. And I think what happened is she did say, okay, well, I'm not, she did say, I'm not African American. I just identify as Black. But she wanted to present herself as a Black woman so that she could lead the NAACP chapter in her area. And I guess she could attack, quote unquote, white supremacy, or go after the white power structure. So in a sense, she's doing the same thing as the first guy. And the first guy's name, by the way, was Devontae Wilson. But Rachel Dolezal basically did the same thing. She just tried to put herself out there as someone who is a mixed race woman, push herself off as Black. And now, I'm going to go in and we're going to get all these civil rights for Black people. And the problem is that if anybody should be speaking on behalf of mixed people in that way, it should be people who are mixed, not someone who wants to adopt that identity. You can't stop somebody from getting a curly perm. And I just want to show I want to show a picture of her, but you can't stop someone from getting a curly perm. So let me see if I can pull up this clip. Yeah, you can't stop someone from getting a curly perm. And I don't know if I can make this a little bigger or not. Let's see. Probably not. But yeah. But at the same time, you don't want people trying to pass themselves off as your identity, and that's not who they are. Like, that's just not cool. So here she's saying, I wasn't identifying as Black to upset people. I was just being me. And basically it says here, she became a global hate figure when she was outed as a quote unquote race faker. And I just want to look at the next slide. For me, how I feel is more powerful than how I was born. I mean that not in the sense of having some easy way out. This has been a lifelong journey. This is not something that I cash in, cash out, change up, do at a convenience level, or to freak people out or to make people happy, she says. If somebody asks me how I identify as Black. Nothing about whiteness describes who I am. So I wanted to think about that for a moment because I was thinking to myself, nothing about whiteness describes who she is. It's not something where that you can adapt. You know, it's not like you can dye your hair and become Black or get a perm or tan and become Black. And that's just common sense. It's obvious, but for some people to feel this way is just very interesting. I'm sure there are people who are mixed who feel like their identity is not what they look like, but no one really gets to hear about that. Instead, we're hearing about people who are somehow monoracial who want to talk about how they feel like they're mixed. So this is nothing about whiteness describes who I am. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, how would you describe yourself then? Like, there's nothing wrong from being where you're from. If you want to fight against white supremacy, so to speak, you can do that. But give me a moment. I just want to get a plug for my computer, for my laptop. Give me a moment. So thank you for being patient. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting when she talked about, her identity. And this is basically her perception of identity, which is, that it's something fluid where you can say, oh, well, now that I've altered my appearance, I can now consider myself to be part of the Black community because I look, or I made myself look like a mixed woman. And the funny thing about how she looks too is that I used to have my hair like that, and people used to say, "Oh my God, you look like Rachel Dolezal," and I was like, how many women did she pass by that were mixed? And she was like, "When I go to the beauty parlor, I'm gonna get my hair just like those women." I don't know. I had to think about it, but it says here some white people painted Dolezal as mentally unstable on the grounds that no normal white person would choose to call themselves Black. But it was the wave of rage and mockery from the African American community that really stung. Well, that makes sense because why would people of another group want you to be pretending to be part of their mixed race community? Um, she was accused of exploiting the long history of Black suffering to play the victim. The evident change in her appearance from a girl of European heritage to a woman with elaborate braided hair extensions and a distinct tint to her skin was portrayed as part of a long and insulting history of blackface. Now, I don't know if I would go so far as to say that it was blackface, because blackface to me is more of a mockery. I don't think she was mocking Black people. I think she genuinely felt that if she altered her appearance, she could blend in with the mixed race group and then, speak on Blackness and Black people, and she could fight for Black people. And she actually wanted to help Black people. So it's not like she was coming from a place of real negativity or trying to hurt them or exploit them. She actually wanted to help Black people. She was part of the NAACP. But the problem is that it would have been better if she continued her fight as a white woman, and there's nothing wrong with having a spouse of another race, but it's better if she continues her fight as someone from the quote unquote, I want to say European community, because I know that if you say certain words on YouTube, you get banned. So it says within days, Dolezal lost much of she held dear. The community she had championed for years turned on her, and she was forced out as president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in Spokane and lost her African Studies post at Eastern Washington University. And many of her friends now refuse to talk to her. So I think she's kind of like a cultural icon because people were so in disbelief at what she did. But I think it's interesting. It says she was forced out, and after that, nobody spoke to her. And in the first clip, it says that she wasn't even able to get a job as a maid. So I thought that was interesting. But I just wanted to do this quick pop up because I didn't want to do a video on this. I thought it would be easier to just do a live. I just wanted to do this quick kind of pop up live almost just to talk about these two social media persons. One being this Devontae Wilson person who basically is going in on the Black community with a fake mixed identity kind of look to him. And the other one is Rachel Dolezal, who really wanted to fight for the Black community, but it was against the white community, which she was a part of. Okay, so she's part of the white community and she's fighting against them, right? Looking like, a person who is African American. So AMR says culture vulture. But I'm gonna stop the live here. I want to thank everybody for coming to the stream and have a good evening and good night. So good night, everyone. Let me just type it in. And I'm going to end the stream here. Oh, yeah, she does. She has biracial children, and I think she also has African children. But I am going to end the live early. It is a little bit late. I did post the live a little bit late, but hopefully people can take a look at it. And thank you all for joining. Have a good night.